Today on BNI Mid-America TV, it's the Notable Networker Show. These BNI members have been nominated by their peers for doing amazing things, reaching big accomplishments, and actively displaying the giver's gain philosophy. Listen as they share their golden nuggets for networking success. And now your host, Marcy Cascio-Hale.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to BNI Mid-America TV. This is the Notable Networker Show, where we get a chance to talk with our seriously outstanding members and get their insights on business, BNI, and networking. My name is Marcy Cascio-Hale, and I am your host. And today I am super duper excited to have with me Mr. Guido Bernstein. Welcome, Guido.
Hi, Marcy. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I love you being here, and we'll tell the viewers exactly how much we know each other later. But to give them a little bit about you, he is in the BNI Win chapter that meets on Wednesday mornings from 7:30 to 9. He is our visitor host, and I say our because he's in my chapter. He is our visitor host. He is also the paint contractor, residential, commercial, and light industrial. So he holds that seat. And his business, if you can't tell from his shirt, is called Bernstein Painting Incorporated. And Guido, let's talk shop. Let's share a little bit about your business because it's good stuff.
Well, thanks for asking, Marcy. Basically, I've been in the painting business for 46 years. I was conscripted at the tender age of 14. A dear friend of mine was living with us with his wife and kids and said, I'm painting the mayor's office in Carbondale at night. I need a body, and you're it. It was kind of like an Uncle Sam Wants You recruiting poster.
Mm-hmm.
Only he needed me to paint it. But then he said something really interesting. He said, I'll pay you. I leaned in. I said, tell me more. He said, I'll pay you $2 an hour. And I said, I am your man, because $2 an hour to a 14-year-old kid in 1975 was about twice the minimum wage. Wow. And I was a freshman in high school at the time. And before I got out of high school, I was running the summer cruise for my dear friend. And so I worked with him from 1975 to 1985. We are still dear friends. And in 1985, he went completely into a different business and said, kid, you're on your own. Love you. Good luck. So he basically abandoned me to start a painting business from nothing. But he was a good teacher and a dear friend. And so I kind of bumbled and stumbled my way into learning how to do business. But, you know, it's funny, you know, I guess one of the myths is when someone raises themselves to a high level of technical proficiency at a trade or a craft, and then says, hey, I can run my own business. That's the complete myth. And that's one of the premises of the book, the E-myth, is the skills that it takes to paint a wall has absolutely nothing to do with the skills it takes to run a business. They're not even in the same universe. And that's why small businesses have such an astonishingly high failure rate. I think it's 80% the first 5 years, and then 80% of the survivors in the next 5 years. So somehow I'm here 46 years later, you know, failing my way forward, I guess.
Well, your business is doing great. And I want you to share with our viewers the 5-6-7 plan.
Oh, 5-6-7. Well, cabinet repainting has become very, very popular these days. And the average set of kitchen cabinets, to buy new ones, your kitchen is destroyed for 2 weeks. It'll cost you between $10,000 and $15,000 for a modest kitchen and decent quality cabinets. Whereas we can come in on a Monday and get out of there on a Friday or Saturday. And so for about $5,000, 6 days with a 7-year warranty, brand new set of cabinets. And with a 7-year warranty, which no one offers a warranty in the painting business around here. I don't know of anywhere. But we do. We offer 7-year warranty. Any color, if you want distressing, glazing, whatever. And so people look at that and they go, wow, I could spend that other money for flooring or appliances or countertops or elsewhere for my kids' college fund. Mm-hmm. So it's a tremendous value proposition for the dollar. And that's one of the things that Bernstein Painting does is 5, 6, 7 with kitchen cabinets.
I love that. And you know, as our viewers now know, Guido and I are in the same chapter. He was actually the visitor host when I first came to BNI Win, and the reason I came back, because he followed up and he welcomed me. He made me feel warm, welcome, and wanted. And for that, definite kudos to you, Mr. Guido Bernstein, because BNI has made my business. So
I'm so grateful to hear that, Marcy, because you have been such an asset to our chapter. And the reason that I did that is because someone told me a long time ago that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you don't say hi, if you don't ask people about, who they are, what they do, what their business is, and don't follow up with them, people can interpret that you don't care. So why would they want to be part of something where people don't care? Whereas with Win and BNI, we care. So
yes,
we're
we
glad
do.
to have you.
Well, love right back to you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one of the things, and we didn't talk about this before, but because I know your business, I would love it if you would share just a little bit about what sets you apart from other painters.
Well, that's a really good question. And let me share a story. I mean, it could be the fact that we answer the phone or we return phone calls within hours. It might be the fact that when we schedule a time for a consultation, we're no cost or obligation, we actually show up on time for the consultation. That might have something to do with it. We also provide a written estimate, including the 7-year warranty and prices. It's all upfront pricing, so there's no guesswork. That might have something to do with it. And the fact that we do excellent work and we're nice people and we care about your home or your office or your business or your manufacturing facility, and that we warranty our work for 7 years, that's unheard of. It is simply unheard of. That might have something to do with it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems to, because we end up having decades-long relationships with people once they become our clients. So I think there's some meaning there, some value there.
Well, I think there's a lot of value there, and because it shows, number one, that you know you're doing good work, because people don't stand behind not good work.
No.
So you're doing good work, you have integrity, and you know what you're doing.
Well, it helps. Can I share something that happened last Thanksgiving and Christmas? Yeah. We were called to convert painted trim and some really tall walls in a foyer, a beautiful house in Carterville. Young woman, young mother, super nice. Her husband, high pressure CEO of a local healthcare facility. And so I go to visit with her and take measurements. What do you want done? I want all this dark trim turned to, white. Okay, we can do that. And I want these tall walls in my foyer painted. They're blue now. I want them a light gray. And she goes, I don't want to climb up 18 feet. I don't have the knowledge or the skill or the tools to do that. And I said, great, we can do that. And so we did the job, took us a week. She was super happy. She said, I want an estimate for doing all the trim on the main floor of the house, the basement, and the upper floors. And she had us do almost all of it. Her budget was the only thing that stopped us from doing a whole tamale.
Right.
And I said, and she goes, you guys are really different than the last guys. I said, oh, there were some last guys. She goes, yeah, there were some other painters we had here. I said, tell me more. She goes, these guys were supposed to come for 7 days in a row and do this stuff. She goes, they only showed up 2 out of 7 days. They did sloppy work. They never called me. And they reeked of cigarettes and alcohol on the last day they were here. She goes, I didn't want them back in my house. I got 2 young twins. They're both 4-year-old girls. And these guys didn't even have the courtesy. They abandoned me.
Wow.
And you didn't. You showed up. You were nice to us. And you were nice to my girls. And you did great work. And you cleaned up after yourselves. And you showed up. And you didn't reek of cigarettes or alcohol or played loud, nasty music. She goes, you were also twice as expensive as the other guys, but I would gladly pay it again. And she did. Phase 2, phase 3, we're still about to do phase 4.
Right.
She goes, it was worth 3 times the price. Wow. It would have been worth it to have you instead of these jokers who showed up 2 out of 7 days.
Well,
You get what you pay for, and that's the moral, I guess.
yeah, and you get what you pay for, and the way that you communicate with your clients, I think, sets you apart, because you're not wondering where's the painter.
Yeah.
Guido's already like, we're there,
Yeah.
or I'm calling you to say I'm on my way.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to communicate, because to leave people hanging is just anxiety happens. If you don't mind the gap, so to speak, the time when you contract and schedule a job to actually show up, there may be several days or weeks or months even. And
Right.
people tend to become very anxious in that gap time.
Well, and if they've had that history, there's a
Right.
reason for that insecurity. So especially when
The
you're
guys-
waiting.
Yeah, the other guys.
Yeah.
That's why the anxiety level is high, because the other guys left such a bad taste in their mouths.
Exactly.
And they're gun shy, and it gives contractors a bad name. It makes it harder for the rest of us contractors, no matter what your profession.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why you are one of the best. And so that's going to take us right into the nomination that I received, saying that you were one of the notable networkers, and that I just had to interview you on the show.
Thank you.
So Guido is one of my top recommendations, and top was in capital letters. The interesting thing about Guido is that he was approached many years ago by the previous owner, and that you didn't see the BNI value. Years later, he was more interested, maybe because his business was better equipped to be in BNI. And since then, Guido has brought in several employees, brought employees into BNI, and is a huge advocate for BNI. Guido's story of from skeptic to true believer is powerful and inspiring. Guido does what he says and says what he does. Honest and full of integrity. He's the man to get the job done. Okay, so here's the $10 million question. How does that make you feel?
I am overwhelmed with gratitude. That's how it makes me feel. Because I don't think of myself as a notable networker. To me, I'm just doing the process. You go to the meetings, you make referrals, you listen to podcasts, you do one-to-ones, and you try to be as consistent as possible, but you're always looking out for your fellow members. That's the main thing, is referrals. Mm-hmm. Just give referrals, and, I guess if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
I think somebody said that once.
Maybe, I don't know who, but, kudos to them.
Well, we just follow smart people. Yeah. And one of the things that I know Virginia always calls you out on is you will stand up and say, load my lips at a meeting. Do you want to share the reason why you say load my lips?
Well, if you're going to have somebody substitute for you at a meeting, you've got to load their lips with the information about your business so they can transmit that information effectively in 30 seconds or 45 seconds, whatever the sales manager moment is. And you've got to, it's my way of saying you have to prepare them with the correct information to deliver short, sweet, effective, to the point. So that's what loading one's lips is preparing someone to say things about you.
Well, and I love that. And I think it can even be extended to training your sales force.
Exactly. Your extended sales force. Yeah.
Yeah. Your extended sales force, because when you come to a BNI meeting, as if you're going to any meeting, you have to have that information in your head to share so that your teammates can listen for those keywords or help connect you to the people that you want to be connected to. So, and then load their lips, your lips, on how to make that connection possible and appropriate and good.
Sure. 5, 6, 7 is one of them.
Exactly. Well, and I remembered 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, it's just
it's an earworm.
Yeah.
And I love that because I knew about it before we came here today.
Sure. I appreciate you asking about it.
And one of the things that I loved, that I think is one of the most valuable things besides your painting, because you do excellent work. I love that you prepare walls and make it so that the foundation is correct before putting stuff on it. But the fact that you do background checks and drug drops on your people,
Our employees and subs.
yes, I love that. And it's one of the things that as a mom, as a woman, it's nice that you take my safety into account as well. And so I love that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that that's an extra step that you take. You know, you're feeling for your business, but I feel like you're doing that for the community at large.
Well, thank you, Marcy. And, you know, that brings up a good point, because I feel like these days, and it's been true for a long time, that we have to practice defensive hiring, whether we hire employees or we also use subcontractors, that you got to do a drug test and you got to do a criminal background check on people. We've done criminal background check in all 50 states, not just a local or a county or state of Illinois. We do all 50 states, because the problem is with the trades, and this has been true for decades. I mean, this is 46 years in the business, so I have some perspective here. The trades, that 18 to 50-year-old blue collar demographic, it's a real trouble demographic, because people bring all kinds of stuff, all kinds of baggage, all kinds of drama. You got drugs, you got violence, you got weapons, alcohol. I mean, you got people that have been involved with stuff, and you just don't want them around you. And I don't want them around my clients.
Right.
So I jokingly say this is the Jewish mother in me. You know, I worry about everybody. Oh, what about this? Oh, did you get enough to eat? Do you have a sweater? Are you cold? You know, it's with a name like Bernstein, I can say that. And
you can totally say that.
But not worry about being politically correct. You know, so being a Jewish mother and worrying about who is in the house. It's like, who is in your room, that the BNI is saying. Who's in your room?
Right.
Who's in your house? Don't let the vampires in.
Yes. Yes. And they have to be invited in.
They have to be invited. Otherwise, they can't get you.
Right. Exactly. So let's move off vampires.
Sure.
And I want to talk about what your biggest BNI win has been.
Well, twofold win. In terms of the biggest amount of business that I've gotten from BNI, and I want to say that in 2020, BNI, in terms of referrals and actual business volume, was 50% of Bernstein Painting's revenue last year.
Wow.
So without BNI, I'd be bankrupt. I wouldn't have a business. So there's one. That's a biggie. That's huge.
That's a big one, yeah.
And the second thing is being able to refer lots of work to lots of business to my fellow BNI members. But the biggest referral that I've received was a local manufacturing plant in Benton, Mincon Rock Drill. And there was a salesman for an HVAC company. He's no longer with the company or in our chapter, but great guy. I ended up doing some painting at his house for him, actually. And he referred me, and it took a year to work this deal. And then the company was owned, actually, the headquarters are based in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And they needed some beams that were being insulated, that were conducting a huge amount of heat to the factory floor. They needed some fireproofing coating sprayed on this insulation, because the insulation was flammable. And they would lose their insurance unless this insulation on these big steel beams were covered with a flame-proof coating. So we did the beams, and that was about 45, 50 grand. And we're cleaning up, and I just got the check from the owners of the company at the local branch. We're shaking hands. They gave me a great testimonial. I go out to my car. I'm just rolling up the window to drive away, and these guys come running out of the building toward my car. I think, oh goodness, what's going on here?
Uh-oh.
And this was early October, 2017. And they said, hey, can you paint the exterior of these 3 buildings to match the new one? Because all these buildings are different color. The new building's gray. Can you give us a bid for painting it? I said, I'd be delighted to. And they said, can you get it done before winter? And I said, yeah. They said, well, give us an estimate. I said, okay. And so I did an estimate right on the spot. It took me a couple hours. And they said, okay, we have to email it to our headquarters in Dublin, Ireland. Stay tuned. We had an answer in 6 hours. Dublin got back to him like 8 o'clock our time, which I don't know what it was Dublin time, probably 0 dark 30. We don't get many okays from Ireland, but in this case. And so between the 50 grand for the beams, it was 75,000 for the exterior. And we were able to complete the job in 3 weeks. We crewed up, we worked long hours, we worked weekends. We got it done. All the buildings were gray. They were happy. Headquarters in Dublin was happy. We got paid. And we made great money, but we made a great relationship because they've called us back since then to do more things and more things. That's always what it's about. It's about the relationship because, a lot of people are just in business for the money. And I think that's foolish because I think there are multiple profits to be gained. The first profit is the relationship. It's people. That's the most valuable thing is people.
Right.
And the second thing is the knowledge you gain from doing a particular project or a job, because you put that in your bag of tricks and you become like a snowball getting bigger and rolling downhill faster. You gain momentum. So it's the knowledge. And the third thing is the profit. It's not the first thing. First thing is relationship. Second thing is the knowledge. Third thing is profit. So there are multiple profits to be gained, in my view.
I agree. And I love that you put the relationship first because that is, it's never about that sale.
No.
Because there's so much more that can come out of it than that sale.
Yeah.
So I love how you emphasize the long-term relationship with the client. That's what you do. That's Guido.
Thank you. You can't be think about a one-shot deal. You got to think through and being purely transactional.
Right.
Because if you're purely transactional in your relationships, a mile wide and an inch deep, so to speak, rather than, an inch wide and a mile deep.
Right. And you're only going to get one here or there if you, yeah. So I totally agree. Now you talked a little bit about how BNI has affected your business. And I was wondering if you could share like a golden nugget or words of wisdom or a networking tip, something that you can use to edify our viewers.
Well, many people have asked me, especially visitors, when we do breakout sessions after the meeting, and we answer people's questions. There's, it's no strong arm tactic or any high pressure, that stupid stuff. It's just answer their questions and figure out, what their why is. Because they say, when the why gets big, the how gets easy.
Oh.
Find out why someone would want to be part of this.
When the why gets big, the how gets easy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to ask you to remind me of that after we get off the phone.
Sure.
That's wonderful because if the why is big enough, if you're going to do it,
you'll find a way.
Yeah, you'll find a way.
You always find a way. Think about a mother protecting her kids. Think about a mother bear. Man, if a mother bear thinks you're after her cubs, you'll cease to exist.
Yeah.
Because she's got a big why.
Yeah. That's amazing, Guido. I love that. I'm going to use that endlessly. So viewers, beware. I'm probably going to use that several.
There's one more if I could share it.
Yeah.
The other thing, people ask me, because I'm about to sign up for my 6th year in BNI. I was one of the founding members, charter members of this chapter. And they say, what do I got to do to be really good and be really successful in BNI? Get a lot of referrals and do a lot of networking and get a lot of referrals. What do I have to do? And typically I'll lean into people. I'll say very quietly, what you have to do is enroll yourself in the flow of things, plug into the process. But the other big thing is be here a year from now. Just be here a year from now.
Right. And I'm going to ask for kind of an example. We have always heard that the first year is good, but the second year is so much better.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Well, Victor shared something during the first member success program. It was February and it was cold. And he was sharing BNI. We were going through the workbook. And then he said something that was so profound. I'm so glad you brought this up, Marcy. He said, listen, if you're just going to be involved in BNI for a year, he said, don't waste your time. Don't waste your fellow chapter members' time. Don't bother. And I raised my hand and said, why? And he said, because the first year is all about learning how to use the software, the operating system, and just kind of plug it in, understanding the processes. And it's not rocket science. I mean, my goodness. And he says, but the second year, from building those relationships, because it's all about the relationships, and that favorite mathematical equation, the V plus C equals P, visibility plus credibility equals profitability. He said, if you keep going, that will grow. It's like a stone casting on the pond, and the ripples just keep going infinitely. He said, you'll build up those relationships, those credibility and the visibility, that you will get so many more referrals than you will have in your first year. It will grow exponentially. It should double or triple. And that has been true for me. Because the first year was worth maybe, I don't know, what, 20 grand in referrals to me, maybe 25. But every year after, it's been almost 6 figures.
Well, and the 20 grand was nothing to sneeze at either. That would have still been worth it. Yeah,
I'll take the 20 grand, Marcy. I mean, that's a lot of money to me. I mean, maybe some people, 20 grand. So, hey, I'll take the 20 grand.
Right. But
every day.
Yeah, but that's nothing to sneeze at. And then triple, quadruple, quintuple. Is that what's next?
6 figures.
6 figures.
A year.
That's
for
amazing.
Showing up at a meeting for a couple hours a week and doing a one-to-one. I mean, that's a good 3 hours a week investment for 6 figures. That's a good trade, I think.
Yes. I believe the return on investment is huge.
Oh, it's monumental.
Yeah.
It's a high leverage activity.
Yeah. And I will agree with you and with Victor, showing up is part of the process. But that's not the only part of the process. No. It's investing yourself, your time, and your mental fortitude into that process as well.
Sure.
Because once you get to that second year, you almost don't worry about meeting the criteria anymore. At least
automatically. If you listen to the podcast when you drive around, show up in the meeting, get there early, do a one-to-one a week or by phone or by Zoom. I mean, a monkey could do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not monkeys. We're intelligent, so we can do it well. I don't know if a monkey would do it well, but
we're smart monkeys.
We're smart monkeys. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, sure. Just show up.
I love it.
Be there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guido. You have just been so full of information, and I love how you present the stories that you share, and I know it's all from the heart. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Marcy. It's a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing because you're an asset to BNI, and I'm proud to call you my friend.
Well, I'm proud to call you my friend. So thank you very much. And with our viewers, if you would like to reach out to Guido as well, which I highly recommend, schedule a one-to-one with him, ask him about his business and how he can help you, or ask him about his experience in BNI. We're going to have his information in the show notes. So just take a second, go on down there, check it out, and reach out to him because he's a visitor host, so he knows how to answer questions, don't you, Guido?
A little.
Just a little bit.
Still practicing.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Please make sure to check out some of the other BNI Mid-America TV shows, such as Go for the Green, Gold Club Member Spotlight, and Guido will be on that as well, and the New Member Spotlight, among just a few others. And also, please click subscribe and share our videos with your friends and family, especially the people that you want to help grow their business. So that is all for today. And thank you so much. Have a great day.
For more information on how BNI can help you build your business, book your complimentary consultation with Virginia Moose Keith at discoverbnimitamerica.com. BNI Mid-America TV is brought to you by the Bergman Insurance Group, your trusted source for Medicare information, education, and enrollment. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional information on how to contact today's host or guest about their business, and thanks for watching.